Old Rag, which we see in front of us here, is what geologists call a pluton, which makes it a bleb, a blob, a sort of molten hot upwelling of magma that rose through the Earth's mantle and into the crust and slowly cooled and crystallized, forming granite. Okay, so walking through the new parking lot and trailhead here on the north side of the mountain, we can see the peak of Old Rag. I think the ridge trail from this point to the top, it's about 2.7 miles. The elevation up there is about 3,400 feet and change. So it's a bit of a, a bit of a climb. Here's a boulder of the Old Rag granite itself. If you look in close, you can see that the quartz that's within the granite is actually kind of a blue color. That's because it contains rutile and ilmenite that give it a blue quartz color, something distinctive about Old Rag granite. So I was here in February, 6 weeks ago, and everything was covered in ice. And it was the first time I've climbed climbed Old Rag multiple times, probably close to 40 times. And with ice on it, believe me, it was a completely different mountain. You couldn't walk freely. You mostly had to have handholds on the north side, this is the sort of southeastern side right here. But on the northern side, it was all ice everywhere. And it was pretty dicey. And I basically did not make it to the top for the first time in like 40 climbs. as we move across these rock scrambles up here near the top. There are these mountain laurels that have become handholds for everybody. And as you can see down low, normal tree bark, but up high where people grab it, it's been more or less polished by the passage of humans, kind of grabbing it. Earlier, I said that the old rag granite was an upwelling of magma in the Earth's mantle and the crust. And geologists have dated the granite here, the old rag granite, at just over 1 billion years in age. Geologists talk about plate tectonics. They talk about how the continental land masses of the Earth slowly move around the surface, and periodically they'll converge into supercontinents. Most people are familiar with Pangaea. We've heard of that supercontinent, but geologists have sort of discovered that there was a supercontinent prior to Pangaea, a construction of continental land masses that was called Rodinia. The age of the old rag granite, at just over 1 billion years in age, dates it to basically the construction of that earlier supercontinent of Rodinia. Geologists have also used uranium to lead dating in the igneous rock itself, in the granite itself, to date and determine the age of the old rag granite. We're standing right here in a slot in the mountain, and it appears to have steps, but those steps are actually made of a different igneous rock called basalt. And as we walk up them, you'll see that the rock is cooled and form columns that kind of resemble rough steps. To the left, over here, we've got the old rag granite, and directly in front of us in this slot, we have what's called the Catoctin greenstone. And the age of the Catoctin greenstone, right here, this stuff is roughly 570 million years in age, whereas in contact with it right here, we're looking at granite that's over 1 billion years old. That's because when that supercontinent, Rodinia, when it converged, it came together, it assembled, it formed, but it eventually broke apart. When it broke apart, magma and lava sort of flowed through it and created essentially this gap that we've got here, this stairwell of basalt, basically. And here we are. So windy. These are Opferkessels, which are weathering features on the granite surface. I've seen, like, in the middle of summer, high summer, I've seen tadpoles swimming around in these little pools here. And again, they're at 3,400 feet, top of the mountain. Give us a minute. Spheroidal weathering of the granite. Chemical and physical weathering attack the corners of blocks of rock. So the corners weather first, and it produces this. So, over a billion years ago, this granite was all right, 3.3 miles back to the truck. Here we are. We got us the moon, and it's pretty quiet. All right, new and improved signage. I like it. All right, a little over 3 hours later, 3 hours 7 minutes later, back at the truck, which is hard to see in the dark. But up in the sky, even harder to see probably, is Orion. And you can see Betelgeuse up there, at least I can with my eye. I don't know about this iPhone. Anyhow, it was a good hike.